And I am not going to be a prisoner of the moment on this, so I'm going to offer you some qualifiers. And I'm going to say that I understand that the University of Miami is fully capable of losing a football game to Duke or Georgia Tech. But the team that I saw do that in Tallahassee to that Florida State team that was 2-10 last year and confused us all with what happened at Alabama, the University of Miami can beat you more ways than any team in college football. They are the best team in college football. Maybe Ohio State could beat them in a game because whatever, but the talent they have more ways to beat you than any team in the sport. It's obvious. What Texas just had happen to them in Florida, these are not one-game samples. Over a month, the best athletes are always in Florida, and Miami has ransacked them. I saw USF. USF is a good football team. USF has a ton of talent. And look at what happens when Texas goes into the swamp. An offense that was incompetent with the Gators suddenly makes what's supposed to be the cream of the SEC, and the guy with the quarterback chromosome, oh, no, Texas, you're not even going to make the playoff. You're Penn State. Fraud. It's bogus. Florida takes the sport back. So now it's Florida and Ohio State. Because what you saw from Miami in doing that to a physical FSU team that did that to Alabama is, oh, you can't play with them. They can beat you with big plays now. They can beat you with defense. They're not going to do all of the dumb things. They'll take a touchdown off the board because of an illegal procedure. Fine. The kid turned 18, had 3 touchdowns, one of them taken away. The one that was taken away was prettier than the others, and one of those was a pro throw. So Florida State got ransacked. Do not let the score fool you. Maybe Miami loses a game because whatever. The stuff that's been at the end where they go conservative in the second half, maybe they lose a game, but they're better than anybody else in the first half because when they take the field, they're extraordinary. Like they are the balanced thing that doesn't exist in a sport that's gone true parity.
FSU did a really good job against Miami's run. They kind of sold out for that. Miami was prepared for that game plan, knew that they could take some shots on some corners. That gamble entering the game for his career, Carson Beck was 3 of 15 on balls that traveled over 40 yards in the air. In the first half, he had 2 of such passes. The third bounced off of Malachi Toney's hands. It was an absolute dot from Carson Beck. I think maybe we should apply the context of it raining down here for a month straight when we have conversations about Carson Beck. He was dynamite. And I heard I did a lot of listening to FSU podcasts both before and after the game. And a pretty good analogy was made by one of the FSU podcasts is Miami's that power hitter that a pitcher decides, if you want to beat us, you're going to beat us. We're going to throw low and away, and you're going to have to find a way to beat us. Okay, we'll go Oppo. Like, okay, that's what you're going to give us. We'll beat you whichever way you want us to. Miami's a very deep, very balanced team.
Why are your hands tied? Your hands have been tied. This program's hands have been tied for 20 years. Why are your hands presently tied? That looks like a good, tight I cannot tie the kind of knot that is required, a fisherman's knot, to get Mike Ryan so that he is not able to move his hands. What's happened here?
This was my second loss at the Dentech bucket. I thought I was definitely going to have another loss this last week. Shout out to Mac Jones, who saw a dead body before the game.
That was crazy.
Appreciate that. One of the more improbable straight-up victories. So thankfully this settles my account at the Dentech bucket debt.
Does someone look cooler than they ever will? Like, the coolest anyone ever looks is roping a boat. When someone gets on the dock and they do that thing where they can just, by flinging the rope,
you
tie
think that's
the knot,
Billy?
that is the peak of humanity.
What are you looking at? It's a
nothing. I'm just listening. I'm here.
Give me something cooler. Beat it. The guy hops off the boat. Everyone else is still on the boat, and he's tying that thing down without even having to use a second hand.
How about pushing off? When you're untying it, you're pushing off the dock.
No, the untie is not as cool as the tie.
No, you don't know what you're talking about.
The untie, it's cool.
You kick off the dock, and then you get back on the boat with one leg. Cooler.
Ooh, that is cool.
You're on basically both. You're on the dock and the boat. Untying. Hey, we're off back here. Boom, I kick off. And we're on.
Love a boater's
cruising.
knot. Love a boater's knot.
Chris, are you saying that you could apply yourself and then feel cool if you were coming in off the boat and what you're saying is the part that you've got covered. You're basically saying a crew member is able to do something with such dexterity. Well, it doesn't have to be a captain. It can just be somebody from the crew.
Well, have you guys ever gone out with someone that's like one? It's not. I don't have a yacht. Okay, you get like a captain that he's the only guy on the boat. He ends up doing it all.
You got to help him in that spot.
Yeah. Okay. You got to help.
I'm just telling you. I've been on a boat where the captain does it all.
Fine, Chris. These are details that are not
No,
particularly...
they wanted to jump down my third. Oh, the captain. Yeah, the
Well,
captain.
because you're saying it's the coolest
like the
thing.
captain would ever do that when they always do that.
It depends.
Not
yes.
always.
You
Depends the size of the boat.
You
Not on
made
a cruise
yourself
ship.
a man of the people by being on a smaller boat where the captain does all of the work.
No,
Okay.
a man of the people ties the knots themselves and drives the boat. They don't have a captain. Chris is like upper middle class trying to relate
We hired
to the
somebody to
poors.
drive us.
Yeah.
Every 3 years, I rent a boat for the day, and we have a captain. Once every 3 years, though. Don't get crazy. I'm saving up for this.
Chris has got it right for him because he likes the idea of a captain who's in control of the seas. Down here where it is difficult, any one of us would try to tie up that boat and we would do real damage to that boat banging against the side because it takes the dexterity and the winds do not cooperate and neither do the waves. I've seen Hanover Beach swallow all these amateurs who don't understand the inlets around
All the Tonys over here. Captain Tonys.
But hold on, why am I being?
How
I'm
many
the one
boats
that
has Tony
I'm defensive
lost?
right now.
Thank you. One and two. I'm
lost
the,
one?
No, none. I'm saying
Oh.
the first mate. What I usually am on the boat that my father-in-law has.
Call yourself that?
I'm the guy. No, because he's the captain. The captain can't drive the boat against the dock and then jump out, tie the boat, and then come back and then tie the other
Chris
side.
is saying he's had a one-man crew who's an amazing one-man band.
And you
be
guys
done.
just sit there and watch him?
because
I'm hammered.
He's doing middle class.
Well, that's why it looks cool.
This
probably.
is what's happening. Middle class drinking, and he just gets on a boat. Your captain takes care
I'm
of
like,
everything.
"You need help?"
He'll bring out some
He's like,
pig.
"Dude, sit
He'll
down."
bring out some pigs in a blanket that he got at Publix, and Chris is riding the high seas on a Sunday like a baller. Because he's got a captain, but it's a one-man show unless he brings his son
Can
on
I
Sundays.
help? Just shut up and sit down. All right, thank you.
And
Maybe
one
you
Cuban
just
guy.
think the captain's cool. It's not the act of it. You just like the captain.
It's the act of that
No,
rope
that
being
what
tied.
the thing I'm saying that Chris has right is that captain can get off a boat and he'll lasso the entirety of the seas. And it's impressive that he can do it without any help because our winds are strong. And so is our local college football team. The University of Miami, because it now has, and look, health matters and all the qualifiers, okay? In a one-game sample, anybody can lose. But what Ruben Bain does to get that 15-yard penalty, he's physically more menacing than everyone who is out there on the defensive line. He's a clear top 10 pick, and you will not throw against them consistently because they will keep plays in front of them, even if it's Castellanos. And Castellanos is good, but he felt a little bit like he was out there by himself. It's like, I'm as good an athlete as some of these other guys, but my front lines aren't as good as their front lines. And it's on both sides because you say Carson Beck in the rain. No, not Carson Beck in the rain. Carson Beck with no one around him playing a different sport because it's not loop-de-loops. It's because those defensive linemen are not going to be able to get past those offensive linemen. And so that's an easy game. Carson Beck can play that game for any team in the land if you're going to protect him like that. He'll get receivers open at Kent State that way because that's – Castellanos was not allowed to play that football game.
Castellanos.
No.
Hold on. Why is it Castellanos? Why did
Because that's
No,
what he wants.
he's saying it
I'm
wrong?
with you, Tony. They keep telling me that I can't change his name because his mama called him that. And I'm like, his mama doesn't call him that. His mama called him Castellanos.
Llanos.
He can't change.
Llanos.
He can't change it. He's not allowed.
I think that's usually how it works.
No, it doesn't work that way. Dan, I'm with you.
That's all right. Ruben Bain had 11 pressures. This duo of Mesidor, there was a great moment, and it was if you were there, you could notice it. Castellanos is doing his thing in the backfield, very slippery. He runs into Ruben Bain, who has his arms outstretched. I can't display it because my hands are tied. But he's like, you're going to run into my arms. Castellanos puts a foot in the ground and decides, I'll just run into Mesidor's arms instead, please. Thank you very much. 11 pressures. The sack numbers aren't there for Ruben Bain, but if you're watching these games, Ruben Bain and Mesidor are absolutely wrecking these
so
things.
here's having watched, like, this has got some history behind it, okay, when I'm talking about what championship teams look like at Miami, just physically what they look like, how you can't get side to side on them, and even if you're a 6'6" wide receiver, you can't get past their secondary either because we've had down here some champions, and we had down here that before Burrow and Jamar Chase was the single best college football team I'd ever seen. It was Butch Davis learning what needed to be learned so that all of the athletes out there, you were like, oh, I see now in the pros why it is Ohio State's been good for 10 years. Look at all those receivers that came out of Ohio State. Of course that's how it happened. Miami has never had this as an edge rush. Like, never had it. Like, I'll go back to Daniel Stubbs and Bill Hawkins, but they've always gotten the pressure up the middle. It's never been two beasts on the side that you can't get outside of either because they're too big and strong.
Yeah, two guys at the same time. Like, again, try not to be hyperbolic, but this season goes away that it's look, and you can talk about Mesidor and Bain as potentially the greatest edge rush duo in the history of Miami. You mentioned Ohio State. Miami, I know nationally everyone just is going to make the assumption, well, it's NIL, they're going after all these blue chippers, and yeah, there are some blue chippers here, but let's look at the guys making the impact in this game. There was a sequence there, and this was highlighted by Gabby Urrutia of Through the Smoke. There was a two-play sequence in which Miami got 80 yards from true freshmen. Bryce Fitzgerald, a 4-star true freshman, gets an interception, runs it back, and then Malachi Toney, who was a 3-star, gets a huge bomb, and Miami wins the game there. Ruben Bain, 4-star, should have been a 5-star, led the state in sacks, was a 4-star. Jacoby Thomas, who was absolutely flying all over the field. This was a rotational guy for Tennessee that Miami gets in the portal. Miami is also doing some really good talent evaluation.
The way Alabama lost when it went to that stadium, and that's Alabama. And we erased how quickly all of Alabama's last 15 years in saying, Alabama's done, and Florida State's back. No, Florida State has really good athletes, but they're not the best in the state. The best in the state has ransacked the state, and the best in the state has a football team that I haven't seen down here. This was not Rick's football team that got into the top 5. I doubted that team all season long. I never thought that team had the best players. But this thing steps on the field, and what I'm telling you, haven't seen what USF actually is. To drag them physically is to look at what happened with Texas when they went into Florida and are like, no, they're playing Florida football down here now. SEC, all that's been erased. Like whatever the gerrymandering is in the jurisdictions, no. You get all the Florida kids, and you can win the state. Everyone in the country knows you can fight with Ohio and Alabama and Georgia and anything else that you want to put out there, because physically what Miami is doing, Campbell Stadium, and I can hear him on the microphone in the end zone doing the war chant at 28-3 because it's gone that dead after Jimbo Fisher, who knows what champions look like, is weeping during the pregame because they're doing the war chant. But no, not yet, FSU. Like, not yet, because the state has been taken. It's fixed. It's like, have no question that when Castellanos is being pressured 31 times and Beck is being pressured 6, it's fixed. Like, whatever you had on you thought their defense could not be trusted. No, Castellanos is a tremendous athlete. He did that to Alabama in that stadium. He was fighting at the end. It was impressive to watch him.
Giannis.
What's fixed?
Everything at UM is fixed.
Yeah, but Beck's gone next year, so you have to start again.
Yeah, Cameron Ward was gone last year.
Okay, well, I'm just saying you can't just say blankly it's fixed
they
with
can
NIL
get the play.
and the way things work now.
I think Mario Cristobal has shown over the last 3 years, if there's a problem, he'll solve it. Check out the hook while his DJ revolves it.
Wow.
Beck can get hurt, Billy, and it can render moot some of what I'm saying. Health can render moot much of what I'm saying.
The playoffs also, by the way, with so many rounds, I mean, they'll probably get a bye, right? But you have to win multiple rounds to get to the national championship and then win it. Like, it's not just...
That's insight we only get here.
Well, I'm just saying, it's not just, hey, finish in the top 4 and you have to win one game and you're in the championship anymore.
I think we're aware of what the standard is.
Okay.
But Billy, yes, they can turn the ball over 4 times in a game and lose. I've seen Miami lost to Penn State in a championship that made Penn State because they had a team that was that good and then had 6 turnovers and they lost. What I'm saying is that what I'm watching physically is as good as anything. It's obvious. It's obvious to the eye. Like, they could turn the ball over 5 times and lose a game. It wouldn't change my opinion on they just dragged monster athletes through Florida, through USF, and through FSU. Dragged all of them.
Which is going to be the scary one on the schedule? Come on. There's a couple coming up here. Which one's it going to be, Mike?
Yeah, look, looking at the landscape of college football, if you ask yourself honestly, is there a team in this country that can run the table perfectly? I think Nick Saban, who, by the way, is unbelievable on TV and has found a way to be really good and insightful on TV without being overly charismatic. Yeah, honestly, Tom Brady should borrow a page from what Nick Saban is doing because the audience is rooting for Tom Brady. Lean on your insight. Tell me your knowledge of the game. Give me a little sneak peek into that brain of yours. Nick Saban does that routinely. And Nick Saban was tremendous on College Game Day this last week. And he made the point, we had a lot of great teams. I've won 7 national titles. You know how many of those teams went undefeated? 1. Teams have adversity. Miami is going to face adversity in these games. They've faced adversity. I think they're really well positioned. Miami looks like they can beat anyone in the nation. I do think that there's this upper tier in the nation, like Oregon, Ohio State, certainly.
Texas Tech?
Well, Texas Tech, we'll see. Texas Tech's defense, no doubt, looks like they're formidable. I'm not ready to write off Texas, but I'm really shocked at what Texas's offensive line looked like against Florida. Florida's still missing guys on defense. They got one guy back on offense. Dallas Wilson seemed to make a difference, although them running the ball seemed to be the key thing there. I was stunned. This is a program that famously had an NIL program where every offensive lineman got $1 million, got a 7-figure deal, and Texas got dominated at the line of scrimmage. Arch Manning had no shot in that game.
The thing that I am saying, Billy, and I understand anybody, I have not done this before with the University of Miami, and I'm telling you, I didn't do it when they were 10-0 for Mark Richt because that was an inferior team physically. I haven't seen what Malachi Tony is here since like Santana Moss and Kevin Williams, where they have a little jitterbug who's faster than everybody out there. And you can put him back on punt returns and he just knows how to do what Devin Hester does, and you can't teach it.
It is funny. Devin Hester is actually a good one. Like if you clocked his speed, straight line speed, Devin Hester, like what you remember of Devin Hester doesn't exactly compute there. And Malachi Tony does look fast on the field. He is not this speedster guy. He is doing it by putting a foot in the ground and going, being decisive, having incredible vision. The stiff arm that he had on the one that got called back, like this kid is an unbelievable natural at the game.
It's a Restrepo with deep threat capabilities that are larger than and more obvious than Restrepo's. Like again, any of these guys can get hurt, but the way that he's trending is not something I've ever seen in the history of the school from someone who just turned 18, where it's like he can go into any swamp in America and beat your football team with 60-yard plays. That's not something that's very common at even Miami, who has had plenty of big play players.
He was forced to play a lot of quarterback last year because he was at a school in which our best players got to touch the ball every time. So that's another reason why he came in as a 3-star.